Hi, I'm Christian Evans, Chief Operating Officer and President of Grain Place Foods, our organic food manufacturing facility. Start you off in the refrigerated warehouse. We have this warehouse where we keep most of our raw materials as well as our finished products. Typically speaking, we keep this at 40 to 50 degrees because it keeps things fresher longer. But the best reason and the most important and effectual reason that we do that is to keep pest control and the bug activity down to a minimum. Because we're organic, we can't just spray for bugs. We keep the refrigeration because bugs cannot reproduce at these temperatures. So it's the most effective pest control that we have. This is our infrared room. This is where we do all of the flaking and rolling of our grains. We actually use gas burners that cooks the grain from the inside out. And what we do is we start with the grain. We temper the grain by adding water to it and letting it sit for 1 to 3 days. This allows the water to start almost a sprouting process or a malting process, and it changes the starches and the sugars. Then we use gas infrared burners, cooks it from the inside out, toasts it on the outside. It gets flaked and it gets bagged up into 25-pound bags or again into bags for retail sales in our specialty packaging department. After the grain has been cleaned, it comes in here, and again, some of it, as we're doing right now, is packaged by hand and weighed out, and then again, cased up and shipped to different distributors or to the owners of the brand itself. We have volumetric fillers, we have augers and other things that also will help to basically get that right weight amount into a package. And then we have to test weigh every so often. It goes through metal detectors, it gets a lot code and a best by date blown on, goes through a heat sealer to heat up the top and seal the top of the bags. And we do that again for multiple companies, our own product, and some of the pet food. This is our in-house laboratory. Everything from a sample a farmer sends in that we might want to buy to what is running on the lines to finished product comes through our in-house lab. And we test for things such as mycotoxins, aflatoxin, vomitoxin, fumonisin. These are funguses that can happen in the field. If it's too dry in a year, you can get one. If it's too wet, you can get the other. So it's a real balancing act out in the field for organic farmers or for any farmer. But we test for those. We also test for GMOs, genetically modified organisms. The two things that we do those testing on mainly are corn and soybeans. We test them in-house with a strip test for several traits, things like Roundup Ready soybeans. The GMOs are things that we cannot have in the organic program, so we test for those. And then we also send it out to an outside laboratory to do the testing. This is our general staging warehouse. This is an ambient temperature warehouse, so when it's summer, it gets hotter. When it's winter, it's basically a refrigerated warehouse. We stage things that we've gotten in that are ready to be cleaned, or things that have been cleaned and are ready to get into the refrigerated warehouse, but we just don't have the space for. This is our packaging warehouse and dry goods, so things that don't need to be refrigerated but we often need, such as corrugated cardboard boxes, which are typically recycled cardboard boxes, as well as all of the bags of the different products, not only our own, but the multiple companies that we do co-packing for and manufacturing for. This is our tempering mixer, where we add the water to the whole grain that I mentioned for flaking. And basically, it's an automated system that sprays on water, mixes it up, sprays on water, mixes it up, and then it sits in tote for a couple of days before we go towards the flaking process. This is our mill room. It's the dustiest room that we have, but that's because we're constantly milling flour. We do several pet food blends for the dog food and cat food industry, which are typically blends of whole grains, peas, barley, oats, wheat, things like that. We also do an herbivore diet that gets sold for guinea pigs, marsupials, and a high-end bird food diet that gets sold in veterinarian offices around the world and is used in raptor recovery centers. This is an old rebuilt clipper screening machine. We've got the destoner over there, which takes out any stones or clumps. You can see in here, the gravity table uses air and motion to separate the light from the heavy and denser grain. That takes out more of the broken and the bad grain. Then it goes to the polisher for things like popcorn, which is what we're running now, which removes any of the dust. They're just brushes that remove the dust from the grain. If it's all good enough and we don't need to do anything else to it, we basically will bag it into 25s or 50s or into tote bags. If we still need to do something which we call color sorting, we'll bring that down to the color sorting or sataki room down there. But let me show you the other cleaning line that we have. Now this cleaning line is our large or newer cleaning line, the new cleaning line. It's the exact same equipment as in the small or old cleaning line, just newer and bigger. So we've got tanks where the grain will come in. This line is not running right now, but we've got the screener, which is a much larger screening area. And again, with the screener, we'll have screens that have big holes on the top, so it'll capture cobs and sticks. Very small holes on the bottom, so only the chaff and the dust will get through. And the stuff that stays in the middle, we take away to be further cleaned. The gravity table's up there, the destoner taking out the stones, and then it'll come, again, a polisher if we need to, and it'll come into the clean tank here. And then from this clean tank, we can either fill bulk bags or we can fill 25s or 50s. This line has a color sorting machine built in called a sataki machine. It will quite literally look at every single grain as it goes past multiple cameras. And if it doesn't like what it sees, a shot of air will come out and blow that bad grain out. This is Matilda, our palletizing robot. She cannot stack as fast as our employees can by hand, but she's really good at saving backs. So the physical wear and tear on our employees is the reason that we got Matilda. We actually have a compliance administrator who takes care of keeping us in compliance with FDA, OSHA, the non-GMO project, the USDA organic standard, and our third-party food safety audit through AIB, the American Institute for Baking. We also have the quality assurance laboratory, which works very closely with our production team to ensure that samples are taken every hour or even more frequently so that the product is safe, nutritious, and meeting all the specifications that we or our customers demand. We have 5 folks in the office, 3 downstairs, myself and Dave upstairs, which brings it to about 20 full-time associates that work to keep Grain Place Foods moving. If you're ever in the area, we offer tours. We would love to see you. We have a small store on site. Everything our website has at grainplacefoods.com can be purchased here and more if you have any interest.